If you're a senior homeowner here in Halifax and you're thinking about selling, you probably have a few legal questions running through your mind. Look, that's completely normal. For many of my clients, they've owned their home for decades, life has changed, circumstances are different, and sometimes the paperwork just hasn't kept up with life. So today, I'm going to walk you through some of the most common legal questions that I hear so you can feel informed and confident before making any decisions. So let's start with one of the big ones. Do I need a lawyer before I list my home? No. In Nova Scotia, you don't need a lawyer to put your home on the market. You will, however, need a lawyer once you've accepted an offer and to finish the sale. But no, you don't need it just to list your home. You, however, can get your lawyer at any time you want. So what does a seller's real estate lawyer actually do in Nova Scotia? Well, they do a lot. Your lawyer represents you as a seller and handles the legal side of transferring the ownership. They review the purchase and sale agreement. They ensure any registered mortgages or lines of credit are properly paid out and discharged on closing. They're going to prepare the deed transferring ownership to the buyer. They're going to adjust the property taxes. They're going to handle the flow of funds at closing. In short, your lawyer ensures you get paid properly and that the property is legally transferred out of your name into the buyer's name. Now let's talk about a very common situation. What happens if my spouse has passed away? Can I still sell on my own? Well, generally speaking, yes. Assuming the home was in both names as joint tenants, ownership has transferred to the surviving spouse. However, both your real estate agent and your lawyer will require a copy of the death certificate to facilitate the sale. Now let's look at another ownership question. What if there's still a small mortgage or a line of credit registered? Even if there's a small balance, or even if it's been fully paid out but never really formally discharged, it must be cleared off title before closing. Your lawyer can coordinate the payout and ensure the lender registers the discharge. This is routine, but it has to be done before the property can be closed. Now, let's talk about a situation a bit more complex. What if the property is jointly owned by one or more of my children? Well, if you've got a child on title, they are a legal owner. That means they must agree to the sale and sign documents. They have the same amount of say as you do. If one owner does not want to sell, it can create complex situations that may need a legal matter to resolve. That's why clarity around ownership structure is so important before listing. Let's talk about a power of attorney questions. Can someone with a power of attorney sell my home for me? Yes, provided the power of attorney document specifically grants authority to deal with real estate. Whoever is acting on your behalf as your power of attorney will need to provide a copy of the power of attorney along with their identification to both their real estate agent and their lawyer. And it's important to remember that a person acting as a power of attorney must always act in your best interest when they're executing the sale of your property. Finally, let's talk about taxes. Will I have to pay any taxes, capital gains, or any taxes on the sale of my home? Generally speaking, no. For most seniors selling your primary residence, the principal residence exemption applies. That means if it's been your primary residence during your years of ownership, it is not taxable. There are no capital gains to apply. However, if you rented out part of your home, used it as an investment property, or used part of it for commercial purposes, there may be some tax implications. You will need to speak to an accountant to find out exactly where you stand on that one. Here's the big takeaway. Most legal concerns are manageable. They need to be addressed early and proactively, but they can usually be dealt with. The goal is not to create stress, it's to remove it. If you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, having a simple conversation about your home ownership situation now can prevent delays later on. If you have questions about your specific situation, I'd be happy to guide you in the right direction. My name is Roy Thomas. I'm with Sutton Group Professional Realty and HalifaxSeniorLiving.ca, and I specialize in working with seniors who are downsizing from their family home. You can reach me directly at 902-497-3031 or visit my website at www.halifaxseniorliving.ca. Thanks very much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell to be notified of all future videos. Thanks very much and have a great day.